The NASA Inspector General, Paul Martin, recently testified before the House that NASA has been the subject of numerous cyber attacks, some potentially stemming from foreign intelligence agencies and organized criminal enterprises. And he stated, and I quote, "Skilled and committed cyber attackers could choose to cause significant disruption to NASA operations, as IT networks are central to all aspects of NASA's operations." Now, let me just say that we've spent a great deal of time on this in the Intelligence Committee, and of course, the attacks are attempted every day, as I mentioned earlier, and they're attempted at all government agencies. And thus far, with the national security agencies, we've been able to protect against those cyber attacks. There are state actors out there. There are non-state actors that every day are trying to penetrate the computers. But with regard to NASA, in light of your IG's report, I want to ask you three questions. Have there been any instances where a cyber attack has resulted in disruption of a NASA mission?
Senator, there have never been any that we have been able to find.
Second question. Have there been any cases where you suspected a cyber attack impacting a mission?
Senator, to my knowledge and in my query of my folk, there have never been any that we suspected that there was anything that would have had an effect on a mission.
So the loss of the algorithms with regard to some of the functions on the space station, there is no evidence that that had any effect upon the operation of the station.
Senator, there was no effect on the loss of anything on station, but I do need to elaborate a little bit, if I may. No one's as concerned about cybersecurity and IT security as I. And you've heard this from the head of the NSA, from the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, from the Secretary of Defense. This is a serious threat. There are three areas when we talk about IT that concern us all. One is thefts and losses, and we talked about this a little bit before. One of the things that I'm doing is emphasizing to our employees that they have to be vigilant. They can't leave a computer, a laptop, a laptop that has NASA information on the front seat of a car. Locking the car with a NASA laptop is not sufficient security. They can't put it down when they go to an airport. That's personal discipline and the like, and we can affect that. We can't affect someone breaking into an office at NASA headquarters and stealing a laptop or a computer. The other one is hacking and intrusion. That happens to all of us, and I don't know that we're ever going to stop that, but what we do is we put safeguards in place. If you go to the if you're talking about the International Space Station, it's not impossible to do anything, but right now we're confident that we have a system of encryption. Any command that goes to the International Space Station, any critical command goes through an elaborate system of encryption. So, first of all, there would be no commands on a laptop that someone would be carrying around. So that I am not concerned about. But any commands that are going to go from a console, whether it's in Huntsville or Moscow or anywhere, has to go through a system of encryption at the Johnson Space Center. In the case of disasters where we would transfer responsibility to Huntsville, Alabama, it would go through the same encryption at the Marshall Payload Operations Center, which would assume control. So the third area is encryption, and that again is personal behavior and discipline. And what we will tell our employees, if you are going to put what we consider to be critical information on a laptop, encrypt it. It's very simple. Just encrypt it such that if your laptop falls in the hands of someone else, they've at least got to go through some effort to get it. They don't just open up the laptop, turn it on, and there is everything as the IG, I think, may think happened in this case, but I don't know that really happened. We haven't had an opportunity to look at the report and the evidence that he has to even determine whether someone really did have vital data that was readily available on a laptop.
So you think the algorithms were lost because they were on a laptop?
Senator, what I have to say is The issue that Paul Martin raised is in a pending report that I have not seen, so I would rather not comment on the contents of what was in his report. I have checked in my organization, and to my knowledge, but I will take it for the record, we have not seen the report to which he referred, so we definitely have not seen the information that he has or the evidence that he has. So I would not even, I can't even say that there were algorithms on the laptop, but I will take that question for the record and get back to you.
But you can assure this committee that were the algorithms to get into some third party's hands that wanted to do something bad, that they couldn't because you encrypt any of the commands that go to the station.
Senator, I can assure you that if, in the unlikely event, someone ended up with a laptop that had critical commands for the International Space Station or any of the payloads on board, if that unlikely occurrence happened, they would still have to get through another set of firewalls at the Johnson Space Center, because everything that goes to the International Space Station, as it did with Shuttle, is encrypted prior to transmission. And we have verified that, so they would not be able to get commands to the International Space Station.
Okay, as you're doing your investigation, you might also find out why only 1% of NASA laptops and portable devices are encrypted versus a government average of 54%.
And Senator, that's the encryption issue that I mentioned, that I can take action there, and I intend to do so. I can make it a policy or reemphasize the policy that when critical information goes onto a laptop or a personal device, that it's encrypted or it not go on that device. That's a matter of behavior and personal discipline. That's not a foreign entity.
But it's also a matter of policy.
That is a matter of policy.
And that is, why is NASA so far behind the rest of the government in securing the data on its portable devices?
Senator, I will try to, one more time. Prior to this week, it was my impression that I had established a policy that said no one would do what they did. So once again, it is the leader who thought something was done and now has to go back and find out whether it was really done.
So the way we can wrap this up is if you will just give us a full briefing,
Yes, sir.
classified if necessary, once you have reviewed
Yes, sir.
the IG's report. And then in that briefing, tell us the procedures and what you do to investigate those occurrences that are mentioned in the IG's report.
Senator, I'll be certain to do that.